Hey guys, hope everything's going well. You guys know the drill. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below. Follow me on Instagram at AIH_sports. And if you haven't followed me on YouTube, subscribe to me. Subscribe to me there. I know a bunch of you are not subscribed that are watching my videos, according to the analytics. So just subscribe and and share my video around. Okay, so this video is going to talk about the major lesson from 2021 in sports cards. And in my opinion, this can be applied to many markets and also in terms of other aspects in your life. And I made the mistake too, but in my opinion, I didn't get hurt by it as much as others have. And the major lesson for 2021 in sports cards is do not buy the hype, especially when sentiment is absurdly crazy. When sentiment is at a extreme high. And I figured that out obviously by all the YouTube content out there, but also there's the Google Trends sentiment that hit 100. I call it sentiment, but they have the algorithm and they had it at 100 in March or February of this year. I've discussed this many times, and I've discussed the topic of hype many times. And the reality is, if you buy the hype, you're going to have to probably pay the consequence for that. I paid a consequence for it for some of the cards that I bought, some of the unopened boxes that I bought. However, what I did, which helped me out, was I was selling a little bit here, a little bit there, and that definitely saved my rear end. So I made more than I lost. And I technically haven't realized the loss for some of the cards that I bought, the Nadal, the Fortnite boxes, and a few other cards here and there. But ultimately, you could look at, in terms of some of the sports cards out there this year. I was watching Neo's video this morning, or I was listening to it, and I'm just going by his information, and I'm sure the information is accurate. He's talking about how some Kobe cards fell down over 70%, how some Mike Trout cards fell down over 70%. And I think one of the Kobe cards he was talking about, going back to Kobe, it was like over $70,000, and now it's what, $10,000, that one specific card. So that's crazy. People were buying the hype earlier this year, and sometimes you don't want to do what everybody's doing, especially when at a total extremes. He's also talking about Zion card went down, 60, 70%. And I know a lot of people like to buy Zion, but once again, I do not buy the hype. I saw some comments on Zion, and they're saying that, well, the sentiment has been down, and he's injured, and you want to buy the fear, and you're not practicing what you're preaching. First of all, I'm not going to buy a player like Zion. I usually look at players that are established more times than not. And secondly, I'm looking at the fact that he's over 300 pounds. I'm not going to put my money in a guy that's over 300 pounds. No offense. But regardless, this, we could learn some other lessons with the media. And once again, I discussed this earlier on. And this year, the media was pumping up all of these stories saying that, hey, sports cards are on fire and this and that. CNN, regardless of whatever you think about them, they interviewed Golden, and I swear, Ken Golden said that he doesn't think that it's a bubble. But his actions speak louder than his words, because he decided to sell right at the top. to, I believe it was PSA. PSA bought at the top. Who knows? PSA may have bought the hype. We'll see in a couple of years. I mean, right now they definitely have great cash flow because there's a huge backlog. So, okay, I understand that. But a couple of years down the road, if interest dies out in the hobby, then we're going to see, okay, did they make a good investment in sports cards, especially when they bought at the top? Ken Golden sold at the top, despite saying that, oh, I don't believe there's a bubble. Partly he may have done that is because he saw what happened when his dad ran the previous business in the 90s. He eventually got out of the business before it went bankrupt, but he has a little more experience than most people in this industry. Now, in terms of other aspects, we see the stock market's on fire right now. And sure, I expect it to go higher. We're going to definitely get pullbacks. But once the yield curve inverts, that's probably when you're going to see all of the hype. The media is going to be like, oh, there's never been a great time to buy. And then that's going to push in people who are on the sidelines or not investing too much to buy the market. And they're going to be left holding the bag. And we're going to see this over and over again. So if some people made mistakes, I made mistakes too. But if you made a big blunder, what you could see is if you have extreme positive sentiment and you see the market on fire, you have to ask yourself, is that something you want to be a part of in the next year and a half, 2 years, whatever? Or down the road, do you want to do that when sentiment is very bullish? And I used to trade the futures market. I really don't anymore. And they have this daily sentiment index, the DSI, I believe that's what it's called. And this one guy out of Chicago, he comes up with the sentiment of all of these markets, whether it's pork bellies, whether it's the S&P, the NASDAQ, whether it's cotton, whether it's gold, silver, etc. And his research indicates that if you have extreme sentiment, like close to 100, maybe you could say 96, 98, for a particular commodity or asset class, that's probably not the time to be buying. That's extreme bullish sentiment. And you could see some headlines trying to get some hedge funds in, trying to get the retail crowd in. I mean, people buying at that time, they're most likely buying the hype. You don't want to do that. And there's some other indicators for the stock market. There's the CNN Fear and Greed Index. If it's close to the upper 90s, you probably don't want to be buying the market. And I remember last year when the market, it wasn't hyped up. People were very fearful. The index was at 1, the CNN Fear Greed Index. That was extreme fear. People did not want to go into the stock market. I was scared. I was like, hey, should I get some money out of the bank? I was asking my wife just before we could see an implosion in the banking system, something we've never seen in our lifetime. And I was buying a little bit here and there, but I should have emptied out my bank account to buy all these sports cards, the stock market. I should have even gotten to cryptos. But those are the type of things that we have to look at. And in terms of personal decisions, I mean, we see the media all the time hyping up stories, especially right now. And the thing is, do you want to buy that hype? You have to remember the media's job is to make you share and retweet that story on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, etc. Their job is not to look after you. They look after their own bottom line. And sometimes what happens is people end up buying the hype, and they're definitely buying the hype right now with what's going on in our society. So the major takeaway from sports cards and how we could apply to everywhere else, whether it's the stock market, whether it's crypto, whether it's things going on in our society, do not buy the hype. And it's definitely hurting people like I said, who bought cards spending tens of thousands of dollars, and now it's a 70% discount from where it sold. And the thing is, the market was all hyped up then, right? People weren't paying their mortgages, people were stuck at home, people got stimulus checks. Now, all of that is gone. And what potentially could hurt sports cards, and I've talked about it in numerous videos, and now other channels are talking about it. I see in the comment section people are talking about this, is interest rates going up. So we're going into a rising interest rate, stimulus is taken out of the system, and it could just still be a more challenging environment. And those people that make money in sports cards are the ones that have the ability to forecast players that exceed expectations, that exceed what's already priced into the market. So, yeah, people can definitely make money. It's just that you have to be really good at picking players now. That's the name of the game. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not buy the hype. And smash the like button, comment down below, and I'll talk to you later, guys. Thanks. Bye.